Alright guys, if this looks familiar, you've probably watched my video how to sharpen an axe razor sharp, and I had a lot of good comments on that video, but there's a lot of people that were asking me, well, how did you build this? So today I'm going to show you how I built it. I'm going to give you the dimensions of it, and you know, hopefully you can make your own. But I'll start off with these stainless steel rods here. These are 5/16 stainless steel rods. I'm sure you can use 3/8, 5/16 or 3/8. I think it's a good size. Now these diamond stones I purchased from Wicked Edge. If you go to their website, they come in a pair, because the Wicked Edge, if you've seen the YouTube videos, it's one on each side. So your knife is kind of set up like that, and so that's the reason they sell it in pairs on their website. But I called them and I said, can I just buy one? And they said sure. So you know, it was half the price. So the reason I purchased some diamond stones for the coarser grits is because sometimes I sharpen knives for friends, and some of those knives, they're so dull. You know, if I go straight with a sandpaper, it would just take too long to get my edge. So the diamond cuts a lot faster. So from Wicked Edge, I purchased this one here. It's I don't know if you can see this. It's so one side is 50 grit, and on the other side it's 80 grit. So if the knife is really dull, I'm going to start with the 50 grit, then jump to the 80 grit. And then this one here, on one side I got 200 grit, and the other side 100 grit. So after the 80 grit, I will go to the 100 grit, and then to the 200 grit. And these here, they're 1-inch square bar aluminum. If I would start over, I would probably just use wood, hardwood. Probably is just as good as aluminum. So they're 11 inches long. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. 11 inch and 1 inch by 1 inch square. And then like I said, on the diamond stone, you know, 100 grit, 200 grit. And then what I'm going to do after I did the 200 grit on the diamond stone, I'm using 180 grit sandpaper. This is it's called PSA sandpaper. I think it means pressure sensitive adhesive. So you kind of peel the strip at the back and you just glue it on there, and when it's worn off you can just rip it out and, you know, wipe your aluminum bar a little bit and just glue another strip on. So why am I jumped from 200 grit and I'm going back to 180 grit. Why am I doing this? Is because what I found with the diamond stone is that the diamonds are inconsistent. Some diamonds are larger and they leave deeper scratches on the edge of your knife. So that's why the sandpaper is much more consistent. So that's why I go back with the 180 grit, to make sure I remove all the scratches left from the 200 grit diamond stone. So after the 180 grit, I will jump to 320 grit. Then I will jump to 600 grit. And then I will jump to 15 micron, which I'm out. So I just ordered some from Lee Valley. And by the way, all the material here, I will put in the description, you know, how much it costs, where I got it. I'll put as much as the material as I can remember where I purchased it from. So again, I'm missing the 15 micron. So right now I'm just jumping straight to the 5 microns. So I'm going from 600 grit to 5 micron. It does a pretty good job, but I prefer not skipping a step, and so go from 600 grit to 15 micron, and then I go to the 5 micron. Now I've tried, you know, 1 micron and 0.3 micron, and what I found is that after 5 micron it will not get the knife any sharper. But what does get the knife sharper is metal polish, and you can use a piece of leather. In the past video I said leather, and you know, people say, what leather? Well, that's because I'm French, so I'll try to pronounce it better this time, leather. Anyways, but today I used a piece of felt. So again, it's a peel and stick felt, and I think it's just going to work just as good as long as you rub your metal polish in there. So the metal polish, I don't know if you can see us here. So I got this one here. You can buy that at an automotive shop, or this one here. Mag and aluminum polish. They both work equally well. And what this does, the metal polish, it's got some grit in there. So like I said, I finished it off with the 5 micron, and then the metal polish is even finer grit. So is it 1 micron maybe? So it gets your knife, if you want to get it razor sharp, you can stop right here at 5 micron and your knife's going to be really sharp. But if you want it hair popping sharp, then you can use the metal polish on a piece of felt, and that may be similar to a 1 micron, and it works really well. Again, I've tried the 1 micron sandpaper. I didn't get good results with it, so I much prefer to use this. Okay, now we're going to get to the sharpener itself. So again, I made this myself. This is a piece of oak, and it's 1 3/4 inch thick. It's 20 inches long and 6 inches wide. This here is a neodymium magnet. They're a really strong magnet. Again, look under the description. I will tell you where I purchased this from. So like I said, I can almost lift the knife sharpener. It's so strong, and it's 1/4 inch thick. It's 4 inches long, and it's 1 inch wide. The legs, I used stainless steel round bar. This I purchased from my local machine shop. So if you have a machine shop nearby, most likely they will carry this. If not, you can probably order it for you. These are silicone boots. I believe I purchased those on eBay. I don't remember the keyword I used. I will try to put this in the description as well. Now my height to the bottom of the piece of wood is about 6 inches, so that's not really critical. The angle here, it might be 30 degrees, I don't know. Again, it's not really critical, right? It's just to give you stability. And these are, of course, they're not necessary, but if you bring this in the house and you don't want to scratch your hardwood table, then it offers protection. Again, I'm probably 30 degrees angle, and well, there's 7 1/4 inch plus they go in the wood, so it's a little bit tricky to drill your hole at an angle like that. That's what I found challenging a little bit. So what I did is I drilled my hole slightly oversized, and then I put some 5-minute epoxy glue on there, so then I can put it at the angle that I want. So this is just a 1/2 inch threaded rod, and it's 4 1/2 inches long, plus whatever. I think I went about 3/4 inch deep in the wood. Again, I had to drill my hole here on an angle, so when it's sitting on a table, it's 90-degree vertical. So this here is a rod end. There might be other words for it, I'm not sure, but when I googled it, I ordered that on eBay, I believe. And you can see there's an eye there, and moves in all directions. And this here is a piece of Teflon bushing that I got a machinist to machine for me. He machined me 3. I asked for 1, but he machined me 3 parts, 3 pieces, just to make sure, I guess, I didn't make any mistake or mess up. So yeah, the hole inside is slightly larger than 5/16 of an inch. And I put a bit of a 5 minutes epoxy glue, and it fit pretty tight in there, but I put the glue anyways just to make sure. And yeah, I don't remember, I think I drilled a hole slightly larger here so that the 1/2 inch threaded rod can go inside. And this is a 1/2 inch nut, and it's like you see, it's a long nut, and I just tack weld it to the rod end, and it just screws on here like so. Okay, so before I put my knife on the magnet, I don't want to scratch the knife, especially if a customer gives you, like, you know, almost brand new $200 knife or $100 knife, whatever it is. You don't want to scratch it on the magnet. So what I use is just a piece of duct tape. And once in a while, you know, when it starts to get dirty, I just change it. And then I can just set my knife like so. So it's a pretty strong magnet. Okay, so when I made this jig, I never made it an angle finder or a degree. But I find when I sharpen kitchen knife, a good angle is when my bar here is level. And if I sharpen like hunting knife or buck knife or pocket knife, whatever you want to call it, I find the angle is steeper. So what I do, all I have to do is unscrew it, you know, and that will make my angle steeper. Okay, so let's pretend you want to sharpen an axe, and I will provide the link at the end of this video when I sharpen my axe razor sharp. But on an axe, the angle is much steeper. And then the problem is that this nut is only so long, so if I try to make it steeper and steep enough to sharpen an axe, I run out of room. The threaded rod is not long enough. But I can't have it too long, because then I won't be able to set the proper angle to sharpen the knives. It will stay too high. So I found with an axe, even at this height here, it's not steep enough of an angle. So what I did is I cut another piece of 1/2 inch threaded rod, and I screwed it into the nut a little ways, maybe 1/2 inch deep, and then I locked it with another regular nut here. So then I can just tighten it till it bottoms out. And just keep on turning it until the desired angle is achieved. So as you can see now, I got a much steeper angle. Okay, so I got it set back at the proper degree for kitchen knife sharpening. I don't let my knives go very dull, so when I do sharpen them, I start right off the bat with a 600 grit, then go to the 15 micron and 5 micron, and then after with the felt with the metal polish. Sometimes I even start right off the bat with the 15 micron if it's still pretty sharp. I like to pull, because if you push, you will cut your sandpaper. When I sharpen a dull knife with the diamond stone, I can push and pull like this. It doesn't matter, but when you get to the sandpaper, you just pull. Now this video is probably going to be long enough, so I'm not going to go in detail how I sharpen a knife. If you want to know the exact details, just go to at the end of my video, and there will be a link how I sharpen my axe razor sharp. So basically you just do the same thing, except it's a knife. Okay, I just finished sharpening this knife. Again, I started with the 600 grit because the knife was relatively sharp. And then, you know, I went with the 5 micron because I'm out of 15 micron. Then I went with the felt with the the metal polish. So this knife should be pretty sharp. One good way of testing it is to use paper. This is a piece of phone book paper. So that's pretty sharp. Just to let you know that paper is hard on the knives. If you do it too often, it can actually dull your knife. And just because it cuts paper that easily does not mean the knife can't get any sharper. If you go to my video where I sharpened the axe, you can give it a micro bevel. So just lift this up a little bit, give it a micro bevel, and chances are it will get even sharper than that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, like I said, I don't have any set degrees here. Like I said, I start my knife, I just, I put my bar here about level for a kitchen knife, and I know that's about the right angle for me, which is probably around 18 degrees. Again, for hunting knives, you go to a steeper angle. But let's say you have a kitchen knife and you want to sharpen it once a month and you want to get your the same angle. I guess you can always take an axe saw and grind a little mark there, or put a piece of tape or whatever. I also forgot to mention that before I used to put a lock nut here, so that when I sharpen, this whole rod end would not turn like that on the threaded rod. But you know what, so before it would stay with the lock nut, only the eye in the rod end would turn like that. But you know what, I don't bother to put a lock nut anymore, because it only turns like what, 1/8 of a turn, and the height adjustment is so minimal that it doesn't matter on the edge of your knife. You're not going to see a difference. So now it's just quicker without putting the lock nut on. And what else? I also forgot to mention that these rods here, there was a hole drilled, and I got a machinist to drill the holes about 2 inches deep, because I wanted the hole to be drilled in the aluminum square bar perfectly straight. So I just put the 5/16 rod in there with a bit of epoxy glue. Same thing at the end here, the machinist drilled a hole, and I just put a bolt again with epoxy glue, and then I bought these plastic knobs here. I believe I bought them on eBay, and they just screw on the threaded bolt here, and I put a lock nut to make sure I don't lose the knob. And I realized that not everybody's up to making something like this. You need to go to a machine shop, and it's a lot of trouble, and not everybody's a handyman. So this spring I will try to make another one, much simpler, something that will work just as good but easier to do, so that everybody can make one. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.